Hi everyone. Today I'm going to make a video demonstrating the rubber banding feature in indieVelo. What is it? About a few years ago, around 2020, Zwift introduced in their meetups a very simple but very nice feature. So with this feature, the Zwift could try to make that every rider looks that they're riding in the same group in the screen, regardless of how hard or easy they ride. So somebody would be doing a workout and working with 300 watts, and somebody's gonna be a very easy ride at 100 watts, but they'll all be kept together. The ride was called Keep Everyone Together, but soon people start calling it rubber banding because it felt like the whole group was wrapped with a rubber band, and then whoever is trying to go ahead would be pulled back, and whoever was falling back was just pulled in the front. This feature has gone through a lot of versions and improved quite a lot from the first days. And it's one of the most popular features in group rides, in meetup rides in Zwift, smaller scale rides. So indieVelo has its own version and has actually been fine-tuned, and it works pretty well by the latest version. I'll have to look it up and add it. And I'm going to take you today through how it works, and we're also going to see in practice a ride with no bots and see how it behaves. To begin with, every group ride in indieVelo is rubber banded by default. There's no checkbox, there's no option when you create the event if it's a group ride to make it rubber banded. That if you want a non-rubber banded ride, you create an unranked scratch race. Let's see how does it work in detail. So first of all, indieVelo calculates the center of the group. That's kind of the central position while the group is spread. I don't know the exact details how it does that, but let's say that it figures out where is the center of the group. Then the riders that are riding ahead of the group are getting a penalty on their power, and the riders that are falling behind of the group, they get a bonus in the power. The strength of the penalty or the bonus depends on the distance ahead or behind they are. The magnitude, now the strength of the rubber band, is controlled by the ride leader in real time. So you can actually make the group tighter or make the group spread more wide, or completely disable it if you're gonna sprint for an intermediate sprint or at the end of the ride. The bots are not affected by the same rules. They just adjust their power around their humans. So we're not gonna be covering the bots. If we're going to visualize it, so in this little diagram, we have a group of 3 riders. They all maintain a speed of 35 kilometers per hour, so they keep their distance. The rider in the middle, in the center, as indieVelo calculates, requires 200 watts to maintain this speed. The rider that's 50 meters ahead requires 50 extra watts to maintain that speed, and the rider behind, because it gets a bonus, requires 150 watts to maintain this speed. The numbers are actually not real; they're just sample numbers. I think the penalty or the bonus depends on how strong the rubber banding setting is, and also depends on some other maths. The distance could be exponential. The result of this kind of functionality is that the position of the rider in the group reflects the amount of effort they're putting. However, this difference in effort is never enough to split the group. That means that the riders that put a lot of power are going to be riding in the front of the group, and the riders that are taking it easy are going to be riding in the back of the group. If the setting is very tight, for very tight rubber banding, this group is going to be pretty tight, and the distance from the front to the back is going to be smaller. If the setting is kind of loose, then the group is going to be more spread, but they're always going to be together on the road. Enough with the theory, let's see how the system works in practice. The video I'm going to be using is from the TFC group ride from last Thursday, I think, and there were 2 human riders in total, no bots. As you can see here, when the race starts, the rubber banding setting can be accessed from the bottom of the screen with this icon, and it just shows up a slider which starts at the 50%. Some riders were quite eager to go far ahead, others started pedaling slowly, so I moved quickly the slider closer to the maximum settings, and which very quickly brought all the riders very near with each other. So here I'm going to attempt to put the maximum strength of rubber banding, and we can see that slowly the group is becoming tighter, and then everybody is riding together. There is a person in the back, which if we check, we're going to see that they're not putting any power at all. And this rider here puts significantly less power than the rest, but they're slowly catching up, and then all the group comes almost together. I found a glitch that sometimes I can't bring the icons where I can control the speeds, but I figure out that if I press escape and then bring this menu and then return, then the icons come back. So here we can experience that in when the terrain is a bit rolling, the group goes further apart, which is probably a little bit more natural. That's what happens in reality. So I tightened a little bit the rubber band, but because it's downhill, the group is indeed spread. But when we hit the point, when we hit the flat point again, they all come back together. The thing that might need a little bit of work is when we're switching from a flat part to high inclination, where everybody slingshots in front, and there's a little bit of jerky movement there, but then things settle again very quickly. Now let's experiment and reduce the magnitude, the strength of the rubber band, and see what happens. We have a guy here, Mike C, who is pedaling probably half the watts from the rest, as we will see. And now they're slowly start losing distance, went from 5 seconds, 10, 15, and they're going to go almost 30 seconds behind. Also, some other small gaps started to appear. At this stage, let's go back and put the rubber band strength at close to the top, 200%, as it shows. And it will speed up the video again. You're going to see Mike from 25 seconds starts catching up slowly and smoothly, and until they are less than 5 seconds and almost up with the group. At this stage of the ride, we're in the flat, and we have split into 3 smaller groups. In the front, there is a solo leader, then there's the main group, and then there is another group of 3 riders in the back. So I was curious to see what's going on. Spectating on the front rider, we can see that they're putting quite a good effort, 250 to 350 watts, and that explains why they can stay ahead. If we jump back to the riders in the rear group, we can see that they're basically putting 1/3 to half the power than the rider in the front. And the riders in the middle are somewhere in the middle. So the positions the group reflect the effort the riders are putting. However, the group never really splits properly, and they're all kept together. I think we've seen enough, and if you're going to see more, I'm going to upload the video so you can scrutinize it if you want. But I'm just going to jump towards the end of the ride and demonstrate one of the coolest features of the indieVelo rubber banding, and that's the fact that you can disable it and let people compete. A feature which would be fantastic if Zwift had it, because people could sprint or compete for a KOM or the finish while the rest of the ride is rubber banded. So from about 1 kilometer to go, I'm going to disable the rubber band and let everyone fight for the final sprint. That's from me for the rubber banding rides in indieVelo. I hope you found the video interesting. Thank you very much for watching.